I, Himanshi Gupta, take this proud privilege to introduce our Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Arun Singh, CEO, Ilantus Technologies. Mr. Arun Singh brings in more than 25 years of experience in running global cybersecurity businesses. Based out of Dallas, Texas, he joins Ilantus after his successful tenure at Ernst and Young LLP as principal/partner and America's advisory risk leader for cybersecurity. During his time at Wipro as global business head for enterprise security solutions, he was instrumental in building the business from scratch and generating revenues of $500 million. At Accenture, where he was the MD and global leader for managed security business, he started new initiatives that had achieved profound success. At Ernst and Young, he led numerous consulting and managed service security engagements for clients globally and built cybersecurity as a service offerings to grow business. He has also had successful stints previously at Infosys and HCL Technologies. I take this opportunity to request our Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Arun Singh, who is our Chief Guest of the day, to please come and enlighten us. Please come, sir.
So once again, good morning to all of you. This is actually the midnight for me in the US. Okay, so if I yawn in between, so please excuse me, I'm telling you upfront. Okay, so body actually takes the jet lag and when it is going to hit you, you don't know. Anyway, I'm going to keep my speech very short and lightweight, not very heavy. Before I begin, I'd like to thank Nita, the director of the Institute, the Registrar Sir, and all the faculties as well as the students for giving me this opportunity to come here, meet with all of you, and address the entire team. I would also like to profoundly thank all the students who came to receive me and escort me. It was really overwhelming, beyond my expectation, I can say. It was very impressive, and really appreciate all the info and passion with which you have greeted me here. I would like to give a big round of applause to all those students. So the Engineers Day is celebrated not just in India. You might be knowing that many of the other parts of the world, they also celebrate Engineers Day. And in 1996, actually the World Federation of Engineering Organization, they have declared 4th of March as the World Engineering Day. And right now they are running the theme as Sustainable World. So this is very, very important event, and I'm so glad to see that here in the Institute, there's a long program here. Many days you are spending to be able to celebrate this event. This is so crucial to be able to create the awareness about the engineering and technology, which is kind of centerpiece for the modern day living. And the role what engineers play in creating the nation is vital. And from that perspective, it's important to dedicate few days, and especially all the engineering institutes, to be able to talk about that how engineering and technology is changing the world and modernizing the entire living. One of the things which you might be realizing that the days when we graduated from the college versus now, the engineering had changed very much, and the entire model is going through a big disruption. I'll share my entire story in terms of 3 small stories. Hope you all will be able to correlate with that. But before I get into those stories, let me first share with you what I do for living and what is Ilantus. You have heard the name so many times, so I'll just take a few minutes to introduce myself and company a little bit more. So first of all, I feel very proud to be an engineer and practicing past more than 25 years engineering, and I dedicated my entire professional career in just one area, that is focused on cyber security. And this area had been changing so rapidly that 10 years back, okay, the techniques which were used to protect the systems and the information asset versus today, it is very, very different. And from that perspective, the market, the way it is changing, it is actually creating more and more opportunities for the people. So while I worked in multiple different organizations, I started here in India with Infosys, with Wipro, and then relocated to US. There I had opportunity to work with Accenture, EY, and throughout my career I had been looking at cyber security from multiple different ways. Cyber security, if you know that it has got multiple dimensions. Is it equal? Yeah. So multiple dimensions, right from the network level security to the application level security to your desktop, mobile phone, all of that require to be secure, to be able to provide, to be able to enable the digital transformation. And while I worked across the board, across all the domains of cyber security, past few years I started focusing on one area, which is identity and access management. And the company which I am leading as the CEO, Ilantus Technologies, is focused on identity and access management. The role of identity and access management is primarily to provide the right access to the right people, and not just people, but also the devices for right amount of time. So whenever you log into the system, whenever you log into the internet, you are doing any digital transaction, you require to make sure that the people who are doing the business, they are the right people. I also like to mention one of your alumnus who is joining Swiggy. Swiggy is my client, so we are actually protecting at the back end the identity and access, complete control for them. And likewise in India, there are multiple organizations like Finobank or Paytm. There we are actually protecting the back end access control for employees as well as clients on how they are doing the transaction with the system. So this is a crucial area which is kind of so prominent, and during the period of pandemic, when people were forced to work from home, then the attack surface had also expanded multifold. And during that time, okay, it was more important to be able to generate the visibility that who are accessing the information, how to actually provide the right control. So that's the area where I focus on, and we provide the solutions which are controlling the people who are using the systems, and people who are not authorized, when they get access to them, identifying them and stopping those access privileges. So basically, allowing the good guys to get in and making the bad guys to remain outside, okay, as you design the systems. And that is a fundamental for any system which you design. Now, coming on to the Engineers Day, I'll tell you 3 stories, and all short stories, not very long, but hope you find it interesting and will be able to correlate. The first story is, I'll title it as a Global Village. And I'd like to share my experiences, like when I was graduating and I was in 3rd year of my engineering, I also studied here in UP. And I know that, here English is not the language in the mainstream. And as we got into the 3rd year of engineering, it was so much of pressure on all of us that, here we are still not able to fluently speak English. So what we did, like some of my close friends, okay, I can probably mention some of the names, Nita will be able to relate, Devendra, Omkar, we decided that every day evening during the summer vacation, okay, when we meet, we were living in Kanpur, so in Motijheel. So the protocol was nobody will speak in Hindi. So we have to maintain English. This is the way we can actually practice, and this is the way we learn. And believe me, throughout my engineering days, and even after that, for many years, okay, it was kind of a big pressure on the head that not knowing fluent English means you are missing something big, and you get unnecessarily impressed by the people who are kind of having that fluency, and you feel that they are of different category, they are of different class, and we carried that kind of pressure for pretty long. Now, as I moved up in the rank and worked for multiple different organizations, I realized that what matters is the subject knowledge rather than the way you communicate. And don't get me wrong, that communication is very important, but giving undue weightage to that is not needed. So those of you who are finding that English is still a foreign language or not fluent, please don't feel anything, even a single bit bad about it. Okay, you will learn it over a period of time as we start doing the business. And when I work right now in my current role and the previous role with the people coming in from Japan, from Latin America, from France, and none of them could speak English. And we listen to them, we adjust to their accent, we adjust to their way of saying things because this is something really valuable. So what is important for you is to add more meat into your content rather than just worrying about that, hey, my language is not that important. The world is turning into the global village. And here you are going to be working with people from all different countries and various different backgrounds, and you will find that many of them may not have very fluent speaking in English, but still, okay, people work together. During my days in Accenture, I had a pretty large team in Philippines, and when I used to visit there and talk to them, they were very shy, and probably some of these pressure they were also carrying. And I educated them again and again that please focus on your engineering content rather than feeling bad about your language. And this is the first message which I would like to give to all of you, that focus on your engineering, focus on your subject, focus on what is going to create the impact in terms of the real content rather than just the language. And if language is little bit weak, it's fine. Okay, over a period of time you will be able to overcome that. I lived in US for about more than 17 years and never changed my accent. I still speak like a UP person, and I feel absolutely proud in that. I never had to change because there is no need to change. As long as what we are talking is making sense, people will listen to you. And this is an unnecessary burden which many of the engineers they carry. And I want you to kind of break this myth that don't carry this burden at all. So this was my story number one. Now, second story, the title of that is Liquid Workforce. Have you heard of this term? Any one of you in the room? Liquid workforce? So I'll tell you the story. Several years back, I used to, my first car in US was a Toyota Camry, and we were driving on the road. Suddenly it stopped, and we noticed that the battery is totally drained out. So what you typically do, you call the insurance company, they come, put the jumper and recharge the battery. Next day again it died down. So I had two options. The simpler option to call the service center, give the car for repair. Or second option, that let's try some engineering skill here, figure out what is wrong with this. Because battery is perfectly fine and we changed it recently. So what else could go wrong? And as I started searching on the internet, I was able to locate the YouTube videos with the exactly same model, same problem description. They suggested 2-3 problems. And it was not very difficult to be able to isolate the problem. There are companies like AutoZone who actually help in terms of isolating the problem. So we isolated and figured out that it was the alternator and the belt which was creating the problem in terms of charging the battery. So then the next step was how to change it. And by no means I was automobile engineer or mechanical engineer to be able to put my hand into that. All throughout as an electronics engineer, our hands were kind of trained to do very lightweight job, like you remove the chip with a little force. You can't apply full force, it will break. So, we figured out that what all tool and instruments are required. The good part in US is you can rent all the tools, okay, when you go to the shop like Home Depot or any of those shops. So we got the tool, and long story short, we opened the engine and removed the not the engine but the alternator and changed the belt and the alternator. That was another story when I was about to start. So everybody in my family was kind of running away, that as if parts are going to come out of the car and some big blast is going to happen or so. But it worked absolutely fine. And the reason I'm telling you this story because I realized that to be able to do the point solution, you don't need to be having the exact engineering degree into that. During that time, I was working in Accenture, and they coined this term liquid workforce. What they actually say that in the days to come, the amount of information what you need to absorb will be so profound and so much that you require to build the ability to learn quickly. They are irrespective of whatever branch of engineering you are doing, the moment you go to do the work, even though you are computer science graduate, you have learned all the latest techniques. But the moment you start working, dynamically, the entire field will change. If you do not build those ability to be able to grasp those new areas and new technology, you will not be able to sustain yourself. And same is the story that don't put any blockage that, hey, I'm a chemical engineer, so I cannot do mechanical work. I'm a mechanical engineer, I can't do the computer science work. Those boundaries are also kind of diminishing. You might be aware that many of these IT companies, they recruit engineers from all different branches, transform them into the computer science. Yeah. So that's correct. And so those transformations are quite normal. And in the days to come, people are going to be focusing more on the liquid workforce. Means the employees are like you have 100 employees, they are currently doing one set of tasks, and then tomorrow, if the technology changes, if the business priority changes, so all of them can be transformed. They can be retrained into another field. So what matters, what is most important element in your education is your aptitude to be able to pick up the knowledge. And I'm sure that when you all have experienced this, you will appreciate my point that in the age of internet, ignorance is your choice. There's nothing which you cannot learn from the internet. So I'd like to encourage all of you that will hone your skills, that how to quickly filter out right information. Because internet has got so much of information right now. You have university professors, lectures, you have the professionals, YouTube videos and all the content. Your ability to figure out what is relevant, how to actually understand things, and then quickly apply it into your day-to-day work is going to be the crucial element going forward for your success. So I was talking to the CTO of Microsoft, and in the conversation, he actually raised a very interesting point that in the days to come, it's not important. People will say that whether you got promotion or not. The question will be, did you survive your job or not? Because things are getting automated at a pace that whatever work humans are doing right now, majority of that will be taken over by the computers, by the machines. And as machines are taking over, then the big question will be that did you survive this wave, or next wave, which wave is going to hit you? So you might have heard about the machine age. The first machine age where we transformed the labor, the human power into the machines. Now we are living into the second machine age, and in the second machine age, we are transforming. We are putting all the brain power into the machine. The chips are becoming smarter and smarter every day. The Moore's law, what you all are aware of, that it's actually multiplying in manifold all those computing capability. And some of the techniques which were some of the things which were totally told that it cannot be done by machines, they are easily now being done by the machines. One live example could be like people said driving a car will not be possible for machines to do. Because you cannot take a car in the road where boundaries are not there. There's a cow coming from one side, dog is coming, humans are there. How can you drive the car? This work cannot be done by machine. It needs to be done by humans. And the Harvard professor who published this report, within 6 years, it was kind of proven that this can be done by the machine. So I would like all of you to be aware of that which area you are going to head, and the kind of disruption which you are going to face. Each and every industry, whether it's a retail, manufacturing, telecom, it is going through the major disruption. And this disruption is coming by the computing power, by artificial intelligence, robotic process automation, and some of these newer ways of doing the business. Like this online, always on, always connected is disrupting the entire marketplace. Anything what we are starting now has got full potential to get disrupted completely. So what is going to help you succeed in the days to come is to keep your learning ability as strong as you can and constantly learn. The problem, point solution, that's how you need to build your skill. And that's how you can survive in the market, because this knowledge will take you to some extent, but beyond that, you need to build this sustainable knowledge bank with yourself to be able to survive. Now, the third story. The title of third story is Ugly Vegetable. Okay. So, Yeah, I switch. We are needed. So, ugly vegetable. Okay. The story goes like this. My mother-in-law, she was visiting US, and she lived all throughout in India. And she visited US. We went to the grocery shop. सब्जी खरीदने के लिए गया वहाँ पे she was like totally amazed by looking at the vegetables and the fruit. Tomatoes are so perfect, absolute round. Okay, the vegetables, the apple, they are so perfect. So she asked one question that looks like Americans have mastered the art of farming. Okay, how come these vegetables are so perfect? Like you pick up the carrot, okay, it is absolutely the way it is designed. And it was a very interesting question, okay, which led to the curiosity to figure out that how come American vegetables, every shop you go, Walmart or Kroger or Sprout, any of those shops you visit, you find vegetable and fruits are perfect. You will not find any wonky tomato or potato which are ugly looking and all that. So what happens to those ugly vegetables? And the answer was really very astonishing. You might not be aware, but every year America wastes 6 billion pounds of vegetable and fruit because they are not appealing to your eyes. Just because वो सुंदर नहीं दिखते वो सब्जियों को उठा के फेंक देते हैं और वो क्वालिटी कंट्रोल में they actually just remove that. Now what happens to those ugly vegetables and fruits? So those ugly vegetables and fruit, they are left to in the landfill to rot. And as you know, these vegetables when they rot, they generate methane gas, which is leading to the climate changes. And not only that, for per pound to generate those vegetables, you are wasting 20 gallons of water. So it's not just one side you are wasting water, you are generating methane gas to be able to you're kind of impacting the climate. So this was a big issue, and then as I started researching, found that many of the new startup and the engineers, they are coming out with a creative solution. Like one such solution I'd like to quote is a California-based company called Imperfect. That's the name of the company, and they have created a platform, very creative platform for these farmers to sell those vegetables directly to the consumer. And then we started a group going to these companies like many of these companies, the ketchup making companies, that when you are making those ketchup, why you want to buy the perfect tomato? You buy all those ugly tomatoes. And you should just tell your quality control department, buy all ugly looking tomatoes to be able to make the ketchup. Why you are buying all the good quality of ketchup, like tomatoes. And this is a big movement which is starting. Now here the moral of the story is, I'd like to highlight that engineers are not just limited to doing the work to solve the day-to-day problem, but we also have the kind of potential and the power to be able to create the bigger impact on our planet Earth as well as the global movements. And this kind of innovation and creative solution can actually bring big change in the society. Now, as you are graduating, you are completing your studies from this institute, I'd also like to emphasize on this point that don't just look at to join a company, do the job, but look at the problem, find out what is the problem which is more appealing to you, and how you can build a company, how you can start a company to be able to bring some innovative solution to the advantage of the society. Yesterday, I also had a chance to visit your mechanical engineering lab, and a few of your faculty members, they have shown that how the institute had built a technique to be able to take the paper waste and converting that into the brick and the pot. That's really marvelous. I think India should take the lead in terms of creating these kind of waste management solutions for the rest of the world, because this is what goes in our day-to-day habit. We don't like to waste things. Like even for a bicycle tube and a tire, we don't throw it just to give it to somebody who takes to South Africa and then burn it and generate all those fumes. Here, even till the last bit, people try to use it. And look at this kind of waste, these kind of problems. There are so many problems which are there in the society. This electronic waste itself is such a big issue. Like as every year people are buying new phones, the old phones are thrown into the junkyard. And each of these phones, like the amount of electronic waste which is getting created worldwide, the culture of repairing something is gone. It's going away because of consumerism and the new models. Okay, what people are pushing forcefully to the consumer. They don't want you to repair anything. If it is not working, just buy the new one. But we need to stop that. And as the next set of engineers, okay, I'd like to draw your attention that you can actually think about contributing for some of the bigger cause to be able to make this planet Earth more peaceful, more sustainable, and bring those innovative, creative ideas to be able to make a difference. So just to summarize my three stories, the first story, I'd like you to be very confident, don't worry about your language barrier. The second story, liquid workforce, I'd like you to be quick learner. And the third story, which I'd like you to be creative and innovative to be able to create an impact. Thank you so much.